Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with my post-fight analysis video for Viviane Araujo versus Montana De La Rosa. First off, y'all, I have to say shout out to both of these ladies. You know, I feel like Viviane and Montana De La Rosa, they both came to put everything on the line. You know, there was a lot of strikes thrown in this fight, a lot of blood, you know, and definitely a lot of heart. You know, both fighters showed a lot of heart in this fight. And I felt like, you know, going into this one, style-wise, this would be a competitive fight. If Montana De La Rosa, she came to put on her style versus Viviane's fast striking style. But Montana De La Rosa, she chose to execute a different game plan, which cost her a victory in this one because she chose to do what I always say you don't do, is strike with a striker or box with a boxer. So she chose to strike with the striker, and Viviane was able to just piece up Montana De La Rosa for 3 rounds. And I'm not going to lie, there were some competitive moments in the second round. And Montana De La Rosa, she was able to land a few shots here and there. But, you know, if you have some decent striking, you're going to be able to do that. But overall, Viviane, she really controlled the pace of this fight. And I have to say she won every single round. It was definitely 30-27 in my opinion. But, yeah, going back like to my breakdown and prediction, like I said, Montana De La Rosa, I picked her to win this fight. But that was if she executed those keys to victory. Because like I always say, with my keys to victory, I'm really going off of the fighter's strengths. You know, once I put all those strengths together that I've seen from their different fights, I say this is what they need to do. And if she would have executed everything I said she needed to do, of course, the fight would have been more competitive and she probably would have came closer to a victory. But for Viviane Araujo, the same things that she executed in this fight were the same things that I said in her keys to victory. You know, jab, switch levels, use her hand speed, don't overexert her energy, and, you know, takedown defense. Everything I said she needed to do, and she polished up and made adjustments before the fight, it worked for her. You know, so she definitely earned a dominant victory in this fight over Montana De La Rosa. But, yeah, just going back and looking at the fight real quick, right away you could tell Montana De La Rosa, I already saw, like, in her face and, like, in her body language that she was ready to try to strike. She wanted to test out her striking skills, and I was like, no, that's a big no-no here, man. You gotta go in there and maybe just use like some basic fundamentals, like try to use your timing, try to time the faster fighter to get her down, you know, to make this a rough and ugly fight. Close that distance. But right away she let Araujo kind of find that distance. I'd say Montana landed a couple good right hands in the beginning, like that first minute, but right away the jab just started pumping for Viviane. She started pumping that jab out, pot shotting right away, going to the body with a nice straight right hand. But the one thing that was a good signature move for Viviane in this fight was that leg kick. She was tearing the lead leg up of Montana De La Rosa in those opening minutes. And that's what I said she needed to do as far as switching levels. Hit that leg, because Montana De La Rosa is kind of front foot heavy. And, you know, she's a little bit flat footed. So anytime you deal with a flat footed fighter, you got to hit that lead leg because they're not going to be quick to react to it. So Viviane was working. I mean, you could hear them smacking like right on the calf. She was really doing some damage early. And then going back up top, hitting her right in the nose, which is another place I said she needed to go to. And when they went into the clinch, I think it was like 2 minutes 30 seconds in, you could already see Montana leaking. Montana was already leaking. And I said, here it goes, man. She got to go to the ground, but she continued to absorb these shots like jab, 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 overhand right, leg kick, jab, overhand right. Just Viviane just like pot shotting, you know, just pot shotting. Now I'm talking about the shorter fighter here just backing up the taller fighter, you know, with these good pot shots. You know, she just controlled the round all the way. Like Montana didn't really take any chance at going in on the inside. She just kept staying from this striking zone, this striking range, and trying to strike with her. You know, that was a big mistake. Like she landed a few shots here and there, but there was nothing to really do any damage on Viviane. Like nothing to offset her rhythm. She just completely controlled the first round. Second round, again, there was some competitive moments, but again, effective pressure was from Viviane. Effective pressure and speed, you know, just constantly letting that jab go straight down the middle and coming over the top with that overhand right. And like she's cracking Montana De La Rosa on the jaw. Like Montana's got a good jaw, but you know, sometimes these shots will add up over your fight career. You can't take this many shots. So while she's eating these shots, Montana times Viviane once, lands a good overhand right. But the thing about this overhand right, when it landed and stunned, Montana stepped to her left and she stepped out of range. She stepped out of punching range. And that's why I said Montana, with her striking, is very basic, but she still needs to work on her foot placement. Because after she landed this overhand right, she stepped to her left out of range. instead of following up. See, she should after that she should have stepped in with it, where she could have followed up like a left hook or a left uppercut or like a straight left. Because she stunned her with that first shot. She needed to follow up quick, but she just stepped out, kind of admired the shot, and went back to getting pot shotted by Viviane. So Viviane continued with this good work, and she even landed with like a stunning kick to the calf where it just like shocked and like froze up the lead leg of Montana, and Montana almost kind of like toppled over, like she took such a hard shot. So she's getting hit up and down here and never going in for that ground. So like I already knew here by the second round, I was like, okay, if she continues to absorb shots like this and just get frustrated and get exhausted, she's never going to get a chance to really to score like a solid takedown, because you got to remember, Viviane is also a black belt in BJJ. On top of that, she's physically strong. So the more and more she gets worn down, she's going to be too exhausted to try to take this physically strong fighter down, who's actually just piecing her up and, you know, pretty comfortable at the pace she's fighting. So, you know, again, it was another dominant round for Viviane. Montana had some moments, but it was still Viviane. Last round, back to it with the same thing. You know, she's just painting her face now with this jab, and, you know, blood is coming out the nose, and overhand rights coming. You know, she's just being predictable now. Like every time that Montana pops a shot off, she knows, up, I can beat her to it. So Montana hits her with the right hand, she hits with an even harder jab. You know, she goes down to the body. Now, I will say back in the second round, Montana did have some moments when she put the pressure. She stepped the offense up. Like when she came forward, she landed some good head kicks. But other than that, that was it. But like, because she would just go right back on the back foot and let the striker back her up. So once again, in the third round, you know, just constant jabs and overhand rights. And like Viviane is just unloading. Like she's not unloading with like full power shots, but just enough to bust her up and just keep her back. And by that last minute, finally Montana, she chose to try to go in for a takedown. But again, like I said, she was too tired by then. So Viviane was able to just kind of fend her off with ease and just go right back to what she was doing, letting off and whipping her with hard shots to the head. And again, still going downstairs, ripping that leg. Overall, like I said, at the end of that round, I knew it was 30-27 for Viviane Araujo. I know, like, they had it close on, like, their CompuBox type numbers. They had, like, the significant strikes where I think Montana actually had more. I was like, whoa. I was like, wait a minute now. I don't know which strikes they were really counting, because it seemed like Viviane was landing with the more jabs and the more overall significant strikes, you know, even to the legs. When you count the legs and the overhand rights, all of that, you know, favor Viviane in my opinion. Like I said, and I was going for Montana, so I just got to be real. Like, significant strikes really went to Viviane in this fight, you know, and it showed. So yeah, overall she won a very solid unanimous decision. Like I said, I stuck with my pick, and I stick with my pick because, like I said, Montana had to execute what I said she had to execute to win this fight, and I thought she was going to execute that. You know, use those three basic fundamentals I always say for a wrestler: the jab, that good overhand right for her, and timing. You got to time the fast fighter so you can get in there, and you got to use the feints with the jab. Once you feint with that jab, then you can kind of step in and get a single leg or double leg takedown off that jab or off the overhand right. But she didn't do any of that. She chose to try to stand with the striker, and it cost her, like I said. But overall, it was a good fight. You know, again, Montana, she showed that she is a dangerous fighter because she stays in there. And, you know, she's always looking for that chance. But this go-round, she just took too many hits, in my opinion. You know, and by the end of the fight, just too exhausted to even really try to go in for what she knows, you know. But Viviane from here, you know, she's the number 8 fighter. I'd like to see her in there with a fighter in the top 5. I think a fight with her and Cynthia Calvillo would be interesting. I like a rematch with her and Jessica Eye because, you know, the way she polished up her striking last night definitely showed me that, you know, she can be a smarter fighter. You know, like I said, you know, she was no longer in and out. You know, she didn't like use her legs too much in this fight. You know, she was using the speed a lot more economically. So yeah, overall good fight. But as for Montana De La Rosa, I will say this. I'll probably do this in a separate video. You know, there's a difference between rooting for a fighter who has potential and then calling them great. You know what I mean? That's why I say somebody like Montana, she has potential. You know, she just has to act on it at times, you know, especially with the striking. Like, striking, and, you know, it's not something you can learn overnight. You know, that's somebody who, you know, comes from the boxing background. It's not something you can just learn. Boxing is not something you can learn overnight. You just can't hit the mitts in a training camp for 6 to 8 weeks and say, I'm ready. You know what I mean? You just can't take on an elite striker off of one training camp with, I don't care who the elite boxing coach is. You just can't do that. You know, you just got to take the basic fundamentals and work them in that fight. But if they're not working for you, go back to what you know. Go for what you know. You know, that's all I got to say about that. Montana De La Rosa got to go for what she know. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Let me know who you want to see Viviane fight from here. And Montana De La Rosa, what does she got to work on? I already told you what I think. What do you think? Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.